Hey, Todd Mackey here. Just wanted to touch base with you and share with you a little bit of thoughts that I've had on this whole bear market concept. I think that's exactly what it is. It's a bear market. It's time for accumulation. When we deal with markets, we realize that sometimes they're irrational, sometimes they're rational, and we just have to work with what we got at the time. And wherever we see the middle line, which is a trend line, that's basically what we're going off of for measuring irrational. If they're below the trend line, they might be a little rational or overly rational. If they're at the trend line, they're more likely rational. If they're above the trend line, they're probably irrational. But the point is that they all balance each other out. And the thing with Bitcoin is, since its inception back in 2009, you've always had times where markets have been irrational and rational. How can you deal with this? Well, we got some HODL concept here. HODL is basically holding on for dear life. So if you have your own sense of understanding of how to hold on to something, when you hold on for it for dear life, that means you never let it go. You always keep it with you. And the cool thing about crypto is if you keep those personal keys or those private keys to yourself, you never have to let it go. The second they don't send money to somebody else is the second that you keep that to yourself, and that's called hodling. There's traders out there that gauge market price based on selling and buying, but that's why when I encourage people to get into an investment, I encourage them to look at the long-term view. There's a gentleman named Bob Loukas that breaks it down in a 4-year concept of Bitcoin, where if you've hodled for 4 years, you'll see your investment grow quite exponentially. So I got into it in 2007, right around the time it was about $3,400. After that $3,400 purchase that I made initially in Bitcoin, I saw it ride all the way up to almost $20,000. I started buying initially at this moment right here during the parabolic step up to 20,000. I also started buying quite a bit here when we saw a couple of almost peaks, I would call them, but they haven't quite made it to the 20,000. So I had to ride it all the way down to the 3,200 mark, and then sure enough, watch it go up to about 5,000 or 6,000, and then from 6,000 drop down to 3,200 again, and it kind of been riding in the 3,500 range for quite a bit, and then finally peaked back up to about 5,400 just recently. So we're probably right here in this chart, and it's starting to take a dive into what I'm going to call an additional accumulation period. So I'm going to accumulate more in this period, as that's a time for maybe 120 days you can project it until you start to see it start to rise again. And when it always rises, it seems to historically rise further than what the all-time high was of previous. And so if we've seen a $20,000 Bitcoin previously, in the next bull market, which will take another 4 years, we'll see that it's going to go for I don't know. That's the thing. It could go up to $250,000 in the next 4 years. It could go up to $50,000. The good thing is that this $20,000 level will become support. So this new level will become support. It might come down and test the previous $6,000 support in the next bear market, but it's always going to ride back up to that 20,000 and use that as support. I project it in the next 4 years. So the concept of this game isn't to try to time the market. It's just to try to realize where you're at, realize when the times of accumulation are, which currently, when it goes down again, would be a good time to accumulate. Because once Bitcoin pops up past the 20,000 mark, you're probably not going to see $3,200 Bitcoin again. So if it goes down to $3,200, you can buy a Bitcoin for $3,200. You've had doubled your money once it hits 6,000. And just think, you wouldn't have to buy at 6,000 again. You couldn't buy at 3,000 again. So the next accumulation level might be 6,000. It might be 9,000. But this 20,000 level, once it peaks that, we're going to realize that I should have bought when? Today, in the accumulation zone. So it's just a concept, some kind of ideas that I've had floating through my head from a lot of different research that I've done, listening to tons of different people that are considered experts and knowledgeable market traders. And I kind of came up with this idea that the accumulation starts now, and because we'll never see these prices again. And if you're just getting into the game and you're expecting it to go down to 2016 levels, I wouldn't expect that to happen. So again, it's all a risk factor. We all take risk. We all factor in the level of tolerance that we have, and understanding where we can go with this is a matter of the money that we're willing to lose, because we never obviously want to put something at risk that can go to zero, right? So just kind of work with the trends, figure out, well, is it viable? And if time says in the last 10 years that it is, there's a good chance that future generations will believe that it is. And then sure enough, as time goes on, more people will accumulate at different levels, probably higher than what you have today. So it's up to you if you want to take on that risk, but I'm just sharing with you my perspective on where crypto is going in the next 4 years. God bless. Thanks. Have a good day.